I sounded like a zombie.
Oh.
Just.
Yeah, in order to grow, you gotta have like some kind of goals.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Put it out. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be videos. You want to rap? Put it out. You want to take pictures? Put it out. Practice, but don't focus so heavy on being a professional. You'll get there. Just put it out.
What's up? What's up, man?
What's up, brother?
Good. Welcome back to I Will Not Lose podcast. Good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon. Whatever time you're listening in, wherever you're listening from. Shout out to my YouTube listenership, Google, Apple Podcasts. Thank you for listening in, whether you're running, working, driving, playing, creating some content. You know, that's a dope dude taking content in while he's creating content. I don't know. I usually switch to music, but we got a very special guest for you today. I know I say that every week, but this interview, I'm calling it right now, is going to age so well. We caught you right mid. I wouldn't call it mid struggle, but you're in it right now.
I'm in the thick of it. I'm in the thick of it.
You're in it. So I'd like to introduce Christopher Urena. He is a entrepreneur, content creator. Made a big name in the photography business, still doing things with that. Recently got into content monetization, and everybody says, oh, I pull engagement, so I could do that. You know, when they see you post the numbers, everybody's like, they could do that. It's not just posting, you know, and I appreciate the fact that you go into what it actually takes and the investment. You know, the little toy you're walking around with, it's like $800 for the kit, $600 to $800.
Yeah,
so you're serious about this.
I am. And the thing is, like, you know me, I have all the gear. I have 3 different mirrorless cameras. I have my cell phone. I have another cell phone that I paid off and I just use just to have. I have cameras on cameras that you can think about. I get them for the ease, like the usability, the ease of use. I want to make things easier for me if I'm going to try to take this serious.
Yeah.
So.
Now that makes sense. I mean, sometimes that little technological gap can get there. I mean, we were talking before you got here. Everything I grabbed was eBay, gifts, sponsorships, and just putting piece by piece together until next thing you know, you're sitting in a studio. And it's I've even pushed it to the limit of trying to take this. And I mean, not trying, we did it. We shot a video in a jiu-jitsu gym. Like with coach. Yeah. Shout out to Evan Robinson at
that's dope.
Exalt Jiu-Jitsu. But everything goes in that case right behind you. It can all be set up, moved somewhere. So
have a portable studio.
Yeah. So, I mean, speak on that. The ability to take a tool and make it work for you for, you know, a lot of people get into, I can name how many hobbies that you've monetized between the camera, between the 3D printing, you know, what you're doing now with the content. So like, what kind of a mind? I know people want to get into your mind. Like, how does he have all the time?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how I have the time. I get sleep. I don't get a lot. And I think my wife hates it. And I think it's because I spend so much time researching. It's not just mindlessly scrolling on TikTok or anything like that. Like if I get invested in something, I'm invested. And so I'm Googling, I'm YouTubing, I'm TikToking, I'm researching what to do, how to do it. How can I make money off of this? And what can I like? It's the mind of business where it's just like, how can I make this money? How can I monetize this, but not be scummy about it at the same time? Yeah. And I spend hours on hours and hours just trying to like find new ways to do things.
That's good. I mean, I have like, if I'm going to buy a piece of equipment, I'll research it. But as far as this was like 2 weeks of mania. Yo, this would be a good idea. Let's jump into it. I did research what would done. I had a background as an audio engineer. So like, I did want to talk about how does one experience lead to the next in the journey or in your journey?
I think a lot of it, like, especially like in this case, it comes from you do something one time if you had fun doing it, you want to keep doing it. And eventually at some point you're like, well, how can I make money off of this? Like, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know that I can make money because there's other people who are doing what I do and they're making a living. I enjoy this. I enjoy paying my bills. So let's mix the two together.
Yeah.
And
it's nice when that fun comes first and then the paying the bills comes. I thank God all the time that I haven't lost the fun in what I do just because I make money. I mean, graphic design was my hobby passion since like 8th, 9th grade. And I'd say my whole life I was just distracted from my purpose. Like everything else I did was like so that I could do the design. I mean, like it's interesting. So that's cool that you said that. But let's go back a little bit about yourself for the people who don't. There's going to be a lot of people that listen to us that follow you.
Yeah.
But for the people just discovering who you are.
All right.
How would you describe yourself?
Artistic. We'll start back. Used to make music back in the day, from like high school right until like a little after high school. And I realized at some point that like music really wasn't for me, but the business side of music was more so for me. And I started to gear more into like management. And then it turned into creating because it was just like I had ideas in my head and I was just like, well, this is how A, B, and C should look. And they couldn't produce it the way that I wanted to produce it. And so I started to create those things. And that's when photography came into play. And it was, I want something to look a certain way. I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to do it. And then I really enjoyed that in general. Like I liked what I was doing photography wise. And then not long after I knew people got paid from it. So I was like, well, how can I make money off of this?
Yeah.
How can I invest in myself so that it can pay me? And so, yeah, I started back in the day. I started with music. It transitioned into photography and then transitioned into being on the other side of the camera, which is where we're at today.
Yeah, where we're at now.
Yeah.
And where do you feel more comfortable? Is it like, are you relearning like obviously being behind the camera gives you some instance on how to be on the opposite end, but where do you have more fun or feel more comfortable? Like,
I still, at the end of the day, I still feel more comfortable behind the camera.
Yeah.
But I've been feeling more comfortable in front of the camera. And it's mostly because I shoot for myself. So I'll throw something on a tripod or I'll hand hold something. And so it's usually just me in the room by myself.
Yeah.
So I feel fine. I don't really care what's on the other side. I'll review it. If I like it, it's going up. Still, I would say if anybody would ask me, like, where are you most comfortable? Behind the camera. I'm more producer side.
Okay.
But I still like being in front of the camera.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm still trying to get over. There's still like that shyness where it's just like you got to break through that to be what you want to be.
Well, you said it's about ignoring the cringe.
Absolutely.
That was the best advice that I had. You know what I mean? Even getting into having to do this for video, because the audio, the mic, the headphones, I love that shit. I love having the audio come through super creamy, like pause. It's just like, you have to love it. I've taken pictures. I know the camera, and video and photography are two different things. So do you think that people have to be nasty with the camera to get into content creation?
No,
what's your thoughts on that?
Absolutely not. No, you could use your phone, front facing camera, throw it up in the air and you're good to go. So you don't need to be a professional to make videos, but to make audio, you need to be good. You can't just throw on a mic and think, oh, this is going to sound perfect. It's going to sound terrible.
Yeah.
But it sounds good. And it's funny because it brings me back to my rapping days when I was in the booth and I can, like, yo, check. Let's go. It feels good.
It puts you in the mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, people always come in. They're like, hey, can I do no headphones? I'm like, nah, you're going to want to put the headphones on. Like, not just that, but it stops you from yelling. It keeps you really locked in. And these are the conversations I wanted to create. The reason I wanted to pick your brain was because we have an idea now most of the people that are getting the numbers that we see, they've been doing this for 2-3 years. You know, they've been figuring out the game. It's not something, and I think part of the reason why I didn't go deep down the photography route is I have the respect for, like you said, how much research, how much you have to go into it. Like you can't just pick up a camera, you can't just do anything. I mean, I'm 7-8 years into editing, and like I'll look at it at the end and be like, all right, that's dope. But when I'm doing it, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm cutting on motion, and you just pick up stuff along the way and from other dope videographers. Yeah. But I remember when you were first getting into that end of it. You shot that music video for shout out Johnny Bills.
Yeah, shout out Johnny Bills, my guy. Yeah, I got into it for a little bit. I recorded the video. I had fun doing it. I produced the one video, and I was just like, music video, shooting and editing the music video isn't for me. Producing it, what's in my head is there. So whoever knows what they're doing, I can give them the shots. I can tell them this is how we're gonna do it. Shoot it this way, edit it this way, and we'll create a masterpiece. But if it's me on the other side, maybe down the road. But no, I'll leave that up to people like Nick Asenjo.
Yeah, shout out to Nick.
Shout out.
He's on the calendar.
That's my
guy. We're gonna have Nick by in February.
That's my guy.
He was actually supposed to be by this week, but I forget what happened. Somebody else grabbed it up. But yeah, no, I've done stuff with Nick, and he'll be the first to tell you, you know, Nick's got a degree in this stuff. He's got monetized YouTube, thousands. I mean, what I enjoy about Nick is he'll just be like, all right, I want to do a one mic. He loves hip hop, you know, he's doing stuff for the dealerships and everything like that. And he's always done corporate work and corporate video, but he's able to do what he likes and what he wants, you know? But I watch a lot of creators. Shout out to Angel. We've had him on the podcast. And that was before we didn't even talk about him going down the sports photography. He may have just gotten it. You watch what he does, what he's done with that.
Yeah, I've seen it pop up.
Where like he just went down that lane and started having everyone know him as that guy. So his episode is called Keep Creating. It's a matter of like, you said this is the journey where you're at now. Who knows? Maybe you end up linking up with somebody who says, hey, we love your content. We just want you to produce this. We got the next Kai Cenat coming up. So jump on this team. Like, do you like working with teams or?
I mean, I don't really mind it. As long as like we can mesh together, I'm cool working together. But if we're not really like, if it's just more of a business, transactional, and we're just not really meshing, it's not really for me.
Oh man. So I get that it's not just turn the camera on. I get that it's a lot of practice. You know, these are along the things with the theme that I like in the podcast, but you actually put out, whether it's content while you're working, you'll put something out like, look, I worked last night, just like you worked last night. And people think you need to be either creating content all the time or you're not a content creator because you do a job or you're not a business owner because you have a job or, you know, you're not a good employee because you have a business. It's always like, you know, what are your thoughts or comments on that? Like, how would you address that?
I think it's a lie. Honestly, I feel like you can do whatever you want. As long as you're good at it, you can do it. I mean, I'm a manager at my job. So I manage people. And I think that translates well into business as well because I manage my business. Yeah. And again, I manage people through what I do. And you can have a job, create content. You can have a job and make videos. You can rap. You can do a podcast. You do whatever you want. As long as you have the time to do it, you don't need to produce every single day. It's hard to because we have lives outside of it. And it's just doing what you're doing on the side ends up becoming a second job. And especially when you have a family, you're trying to find a way, how can I do all three of these, excel in all three of these? And that's when it becomes that point where it's just like, how can I make the one in the middle that I really enjoy?
Yep.
How can I have that be the number one that makes me money so that I can drop this one and take care of my family off of this? So it's just dedication. It comes down to dedication of like, what do you want to do? What's your goal at the end of it? If you're just trying to have fun with it, have fun with it. Post when you want to post. Don't put pressure on yourself. But if you're trying to like make something, you're going to have to grind. And you're going to have to put the work in. So
cool. Yeah, I don't like to paint the picture any other way. I tell people I'm lucky. Like, I know I work hard, and that's not taking away from anything, but there is a bit of luck involved with everything. You know, I wasn't born knowing the people I was knowing. I was in a room somewhere and got considered for something that is a dime a dozen. Like, let's be honest, if it wasn't 10 years ago, everybody has Canva app or something. Like, what I do is a commodity. So finding some way to say, okay, how do I create the value? I just look at it that I've been lucky enough to everything that I've made money off of. I look at it as a game. Yeah. I inherently want to get better. I think back to like working at Taco Bell at 15. I wanted to memorize all the recipes. I wanted to know the stuff. I wanted to get faster. And it was funny. I remember leaving there and seeing somebody who, when you're first training someone, it's the worst. It's like, you know, this is so easy for you. It's like, no, you push this button to make the hose go. And,
no.
You know, it's like turn the nozzle.
No, that is no, that's the honest truth, man. It's the funniest stuff training somebody because you know what you're doing. Yeah. You already have everything up here. And so when you're just trying to like put it out and show them and then you see them do it different, you're like, what are you doing? It's not the way I showed you.
Yeah.
Don't do it that way.
And just like you said, if it's transactional with business, if you have a job that you don't enjoy or want to do, you know, you're not gonna, I don't want to say always have to stay after, but like, you're just gonna make it so much harder on your managers. Like,
so it's funny. I'll say this. I'm gonna look at this camera when I say it. You don't need to suck up to be a good employee. You should like your job, obviously. You applied for the job. You should like your job. Do your job. If you come into work and you do your job and you like your job, you could move up. But if you come in a job and you don't care, you're just there for a paycheck, you're going to be stuck at where you're at. And that's just across the board. Like if you pick up a camera and you're doing it just because you want to get paid, it's going to be hard to get clients. And like I've learned this through Alex Garcia. Shout out to Alex Garcia. Garcia Photography. He told me, we were talking years ago, and he said, people don't buy what you do. People buy you. They like you. And if they don't like you, it doesn't matter how good you are. They're not buying it. And that's, since he said that, that always stuck with me, and that will always stick with me for the rest of my life. People buy you. They don't buy your product.
Yeah, that's right along what I said with it being like a commodity, you know, but that's interesting, man. I just wish everybody can do something. And I think what I try to drive home is they don't realize how much time there is in a day. Like, does it suck if you, no spoiler, you work night shift, but I saw you had posted about getting off at 5. Something had happened with oversleeping, or the daughter was late.
My wife overslept.
I didn't want to call her out. That's exactly what I read.
Maybe you sleeping. She had overslept accidentally. Alarms. She didn't set the alarm. Overslept. And then at the same time, I get home. My youngest and my oldest wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, oh, okay, sweet. Like this is the kind of day that it's gonna be. I got to get my son on the bus by 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I got to bring my daughters to my mom because she watches the kids while I try to get sleep. But then on Tuesdays, I have a work meeting, and that lasts till like 11 o'clock in the morning. I got to try to cram in like a nap to get him off the bus by 3.
Your body's probably thinking, yo, what if I did this angle over here?
And that's
from
the problem.
Like,
yeah, because like while I'm doing all these different things, I'm trying to think, what can I create tonight? When I'm in my office tonight, or when I'm at home tonight, what can I create to put out? Because I have to put something out today. Because I made a promise to myself, put the content out daily, put something out every day. So now I'm trying to run around, do all these different things, but at the same time, I'm trying to create some type of content in some part of my brain where it's just like, all right, what am I going to put out tonight? And it's a madhouse in there.
It's madhouse, but it's like, that's not every night, but that's what comes along with it. Every night this week, I said, I'm gonna go to bed early so I can get that 7, 8 hours. I mean, I'm usually good on 6.5, but if I can get 8, that's a treasure. So it didn't happen. 12 o'clock Monday, you know what I mean? 2 o'clock. I was up till maybe 2 a.m. And it's weird, not only having clients that are in different time zones, but some of my clients are dreamers just like us. They have jobs, they have lives, they have families. So if 10 p.m. is the only time we can screen share to go over, the thing that's going to get them out of their individual rat race, and I'm up anyway, it's like, okay. So I said, I have you coming over today. I was unloading these SD cards, like literally as I was like, oh shit, I didn't unload the SD card. So I'm transferring stuff. I'm checking mics. Like as you came in, I made it look good, but I just got off of 2 client meetings and I have to do what we talked about right after this. So it's like, if you want it, there is a lot of time in the day. Like
there is. And I'll make the joke with people where it's just like, oh, there's not enough time in a day. My wife loves to say, she's like, I wish I could just pause time and do what I need to do and then come back. And I'm like, we have the time. We don't realize that it's there, but we have the time. And like, it could be, you can come up with ideas or work on something while you got to drive to a location anyways. So while you're driving there, think of it. Think of what you need to do. Think of what you need to create. So when you get there, you either jot it down or you get to it.
You big on ChatGPT?
I am. I think like on Monday, I just like signed up and I like got a subscription on there. I was using the free version.
Nah, all right, got you.
I've been using the free version, and then it was like,
no,
I would put in too much information, and it's like you used your limit for the day, and I'm just like, you know what? What's $20?
No, it's bad. It's like the cheap version's bad, but we're not gonna get too much into that. Now that you have the paid versions, use the voice. When you're in the car, just click the little mic icon and tell it you're about to brainstorm, and it'll poke questions rather than give you responses like Google's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'll be less how's your day and stuff. You'll just say, look, I want to talk about this piece of content. What are you thinking? Go and Google this. And when you get to where you are, that whole thing will be in the chat. So you can go back and pick out stuff. It's like a crazy voice note record, but
didn't know that.
Yeah, man. I'll put you on.
Sorry. Just
something
from his school.
What people don't, just to fill the time while you check that, what people don't realize is, like I drilled home, we have lives and things going on, even if you're a teenager, you don't have all day to just sit there and create content. You have homework, you have things that you have to do. And
you might have chores.
And let's be honest, maybe it's different nowadays, but at least when we were coming up, you couldn't tell your parents you're going to chase your hobby and not do, like, you couldn't drop out of school. No. You couldn't, like, even if you were on a Disney movie and everybody knew your name, they'd be like, all right, well, work on your homework. We'll get a tutor. We'll get a homeschooler.
If you like look at the interviews of celebrities like that, they'll talk about how they had homework on set. Like they would do schoolwork on set and then get to recording or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So
Valerie Bittner?
Sounds familiar.
She's a actor, voiceover artist, but she's like a spokesmodel in this area. She's got like 13 feature films.
I feel like I've most likely seen her name.
You'll see her. Check out the interview we have with her coming up, but she's explaining how, one, what she said, that thing that stuck with me was you're only employed till your next job. Yeah. It's fun when you get the paycheck. It's fun when, like I told you, I'm booked out for a little bit, but if I don't start doing stuff now, then when March hits, it's like, what's next? Is that the end of the line? Do I go and post something on Facebook? Thank God I've been blessed. I don't get work through Facebook. It's just not something. And that was somewhat liberating for me in my content creation. Shout out to Alex Colon, but he asked me, congratulations on getting monetized. How'd you do it? I said, I have no idea, bro. It's just the button was available one time. Like I literally, I got a check in the mail and it was like Meta or something. I was like, what's this? Like, this looks weird. It wasn't crazy at all, but I was like, oh, like that's right. I can receive stars or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to research how to do it, but it goes back to what you said. If you love it, the money will come.
I can explain. You want to get monetized on Facebook?
Yeah, let's go.
The first thing you need to do is turn your page into a professional page. If you don't have that ability, then you need to gain followers. You need at least 1,000 followers, and it's not friends. Like, they need to be following your page.
Yeah.
Once you turn your page into a professional mode, on professional mode, you need to post. Post. It doesn't matter what. Like, post your content, but post. There's a lot of times that you'll see me just write random things. It's because I get paid for whatever I write. But the thing is, like, in order for you to get to that point, you need to post. And then at some point, Facebook will realize, oh, he wants to be a content creator. And so they'll offer you that option of get paid with bonuses. And that's when you get paid for your videos, your posts, your photos, whatever the case may be. And then as you're doing that and you start to grow in that and get more followers, they'll start to release more to you. And the hardest one to get into is
the ads and the reels.
So I have ads on Reels.
What?
It's
I wish I had ads on Reels.
You know what? I'll look right now which one it was, because this one I'm not in yet. You need, I think it's like 10,000 followers or 100,000 minutes viewed. And that's
the one I'm going for, the minutes viewed. Like, you got to know what, because I put my whole back catalog of I Will Not Lose on 50 episodes, hour-long episodes, and they're getting views on Facebook, so it's a new market.
It'll load up eventually.
Yeah. I have looked. I do have mine set up, and I've looked in where it's like levels, like gamified it and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I've even taken it to the level like that desk there with they can't see it on camera, but that desk with the white background, that's just there for lighting. Like, that's just there so I can get a static background, sit down. I mean, I have the space, but even just throwing a camera on and doing this with the background, like I overthink it. I know I do, but it's not like I'm sitting there. If I was sitting there playing video games for 4 hours and then like, man, I just can't seem to get my business off the ground or do this, it is what it is. But I know what I'm doing when I'm not posting. The only reason I just got off like a month break of Facebook. Now that I know, okay, there's a check there, and it's with things like you got to think down to the psychology of people. So if you see a thumbnail, you see one of my videos, even this video, let's take this video. People will see the thumbnail. They'll be like, oh shit, he was on that. I'll watch that later. And they'll see a clip. They'll be like, oh, that's right. I wanted to watch that. Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll go and hit watch later on YouTube. But on Facebook, the video just starts playing. There's no thumbnail. There's the thing. So as long as I have that hook, as long as I cut something out of the video that gets people to say, there it is. They don't even realize they're watching the beginning of it. They might just set the phone down and start listening. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least they could save it in their app, but people are so weird. Like, if your podcast is on Apple Podcasts and not on Spotify, I'm sorry, bro. I can only see the clips that come to me through Facebook. I'm not going to search it out outside of my native app. Yeah. And that's part of what I had to stop caring about. Like, I wanted to drive people to YouTube because that thing's got a couple hundred views. That must be a good conversation. But there are people that'll see a few views, and if it's been up for a while and has a few views, they're just not going to watch it. You got to look into the psychology of like what will do. So maybe hiding views is better for you if that's the case.
People are weird. And you'll notice this as you post content. The more likes and shares are on something, people are intrigued to find out why. And so like they'll sit there and watch it, and then they'll make their own judgment off of it. But if there's nothing on there, they'll watch it, but they're not going to react to it.
No, they won't.
And they'll just scroll on by when they're done. And they'll watch the whole thing, but they won't say nothing. And that's one of the things that like people have to get over that as well. Like if you're going to create content, because there's a lot of times I post, I'll have 42 reactions, 1 share. And it's like, should have had 42 shares.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
you got to get over that, or it's just like everybody's like, they just want to fulfill their need. I create a content to fulfill your need. You're happy, haha, laugh, keep it moving. They're just swiping. And that's just the way the world is. And it's just like, once you get over that, like, okay, it's not like they're not doing it on purpose. Like, well, I'm not going to share this just because it's Chris. Like, there might be that person, but it's a few and far between.
No, you and Tamela. Well, first off, your stuff's entertaining, but you, and shout out to Tamela Gross, I know you guys do this and take it seriously. I know Drake gets paid in some way, shape, or form when I comment on his stuff, but I have no vested interest in seeing him go crazy. But it's nuts how we do this with celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say I'm one of the only people, but I keep running into this thing where it's like I'm supporting, be it local music or entrepreneurs, and then I post something that I did, and now there's 180, 200 likes of people from all walks of life, all different sort of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shout out to like the city councilmen and police chiefs that said, this is what you do. Like, we support it, or we've been watching. You never know who's watching too.
Mm-hmm.
You get 600 views. You ever sit there and wonder, dude, that got 2,300 views.
Where did this come from?
6 comments. And like you said, 100, but like, who were those 3,200 people?
Absolutely.
Like,
there are people, and I've learned this through everything that I do. There are so many people who watch you. They won't react or like engage with any of your content, but they watch you. And it's funny because like when I shoot a wedding or something like that, and I see somebody that knows me, they'll tell me, "Oh, Chris, I love your stuff. You're so funny. I watch all of it." And I'm like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And then I finally hear their name, and I'm like, who is that? Yeah. I've never seen their name pop up.
Never seen a comment.
I have a good memory, and it's just, I will check. I don't know what it is, but I like to check who's liked my stuff, who's liked, who shared, who's commented.
It's a great habit.
And so I remember everybody's name. So if I hear your name, I'm like, you didn't like something, and I know you didn't. Or maybe you liked one thing, and that's that. So you're not engaging with the content, which, hey, it is what it is. You're not forced to. But it's funny when people are like, they're just like, they're watching. There's a lot of people watching you do what you do. They might not engage, but there's a lot of people watching. And that's why it's important to go hard, because just because you see 2-3 likes doesn't mean that 200-300 people didn't watch your stuff.
For sure.
And it could be very local. You look at your insights, you'll see it's all local. The people who are watching you. So just at some point, something will hit, it'll stick. Keep pushing at it.
For sure, man. That's great advice. I think it's never the content either. Like, you syndicate content to different, like you go to TikTok, you go to a bunch of different stuff. Like, one thing I do is I post my reels to TikTok, but I don't know how to scroll TikTok. I don't know that app at all. I don't even know how to get out of it when I get in it. I have to like go back twice. See, that's what I've heard. And it's like, it's just another path to go down. But the amount of people that say, I see your podcast on TikTok, like, that's where the exposure is. They may not translate into actual views or listeners of the long form content, but just in terms of broad reach, nobody cares that I do design or run a successful business and that. I'm a podcaster now. So what's up, man? Got me and my mic. It's just me and my mic now.
You know what's funny is like, there's so many different social media apps, and they really are like, at the end of it, the bare bones, it's a social media app. It's the same, but they're different in so many ways. Like on Facebook, it's me. It's Christopher Urena. They know me, and like I'll put out the content or whatever the case may be, but like, it's me. And I'm me across every social media, but you still get something different. Like on Instagram, I'm starting to use it different today, but for the past like 8 years, it was business to me. So on Instagram, you only got CU imagery. You got photography, you got business. You didn't get family life. What you got was photos. And on TikTok was just more of like this is me. Like, this is the real me. I'm raw. I'm posting. I'll make a joke. I'll do a stupid dance playing around, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Because this is TikTok is strictly, well, now they've embedded like photos, but it's just strictly videos, and it's just a quick swipe, another video. It's nothing. It's not based on comments and photos. It's not based on business. It
reminds me of how Snapchat was like, but it has comments.
Yeah.
Like, I really love Snapchat. My new addiction right now is Threads, just because I don't even know the path to monetization. I have to know in 2025 whether I want to put like as much work as I put into the podcast. Because if this is part of my content, do you know how much work it is to be on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Deezer, have the clips on YouTube Shorts, post to the Facebook story, the Facebook Reels, the Instagram story, the Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. It's like
it's a whole other job.
It's 20, 30 minutes like per platform till you chat GPT what it is. And nowadays people are like for my anniversary episode, I fell back for a little bit and I tried some new things that I was going to do, had some new AI tools. But now if I don't got the timestamp exactly to where you want to go in the image and also in the Facebook description, it's just so hard. And I appreciate people for their attention. Yo, shout out to you if you're watching this right now, because I say you could be anywhere else in the world right now. And that was a saying before, you could literally go into a portal to be anywhere. So if you're giving the attention, there's something that you're pulling in, something in the message that they understand with the guests that I pick. Because if you're not on the journey, I don't think there's so much to hear. I think it's actually misleading to say, okay, I'm not saying you don't get like, say, an Elon Musk, or you get somebody who has the perceived highest level of success in whatever field. Yeah, you can learn something from them. But my audience is like, yo, I may not pick up that carrot. You know how many people told me, yo, I can start a podcast now. Like, I'm passionate about this. They're stuck in that rat race. They don't like what they do. And they're like, yo, you're telling me for less than $100, I can get what I need to just put content out, and all I need to do is have the drive. And then next thing you know, for a year, they're happy when they come home from work. You know how happy it makes you at work to know that you can do something after work? Like,
fantastic. It's great. It's a great feeling to come home and it's just like, I can't wait to go home and do X. Like, I can't wait to go home and take care of this, knock this out, or create a podcast. Like, I can't wait to go home, set my camera up. Like, I just worked 12 hours. I'm going to go home and spend 4 hours doing this content, but I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, that's dope. Anybody that wants to get into content creation, anybody that even wants to there's people that listen. For whatever reason, this week I had a bunch of people reach out and just, it wasn't like, hey, good job, I seen what you've been doing. It's been like, I've known you from years. You've never changed, or other than in a good way and stuff. And I'm like, yo, this is so dope near the holiday, because I didn't get into it for any of that. Like, I'm still doing this 2.5 years later. And there's people that say, I was never interested in the conversations, but I'm interested in you, and you've been consistent. So the fact that I still see it coming, I may go and like. Dude, if I had as many views for as many people, there'll be, I've seen episodes, 26 shares, 13 views. I'm like, I mean, I appreciate the shares.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Or you'll have one where I'll go, I went viral once on Instagram and I haven't used the app since. No lie. I just got scared. Like that was a lot of notifications, but, I had like 13,000 likes, 50, 60,000 views. And it had nothing to do with like what my show is about, like the journey, the struggle. It was about like ChatGPT, or I think it was Midjourney at the time. I had like just tried out Midjourney, and whatever hashtag hit. And I didn't have I will not lose branding. I was just a guy in a sweater at a mic. It was funny, but it went nuts. So I'm like, I didn't know how to capitalize it on the time. I don't think I had any monetization at the time, but
it's funny what takes off, and you'll be surprised on what takes off. It sometimes it's the most random thing that just blows up, and you're just like, what? And then, and then you don't know how to like translate it over to something. Like I've had videos blow up, millions of views, no way to translate that over into what I do.
Yeah.
Because it has like, I don't want to say it has nothing to do with what I am, but it's just like, it was the shoot that I did.
Pregnancy.
The pregnancy, the paternity shoot.
Yep.
Blew up multiple times. It's blown up. I can't convert that. What am I would have go back and do another shoot? No, there's no way to convert that. But I had other videos do really well, so it's just kind of like following that recipe. Mm-hmm. If I follow that recipe, that I can monetize. So it's real funny on what can blow up because it'll just be something as random as let me talk about Midjourney, and it is overstimulating. When your phone is just, you're looking at your phone and you're just like, what the hell's going on? What? It's a notification after notification after notification.
Yeah, and then you want to reply to people and stuff. Yep.
And it's just like, let me stop. Let me leave that alone.
I had someone, Threads is my shit because I want to say I feel like nobody knows me even though I'm still at T.O. the designer. It's more photographers and stuff. And I don't have to prove myself to any graphic designer. I don't care if whatever. So I'll do stuff like I posted about SanDisk's new logo. Some people liked it. Some people didn't. I said, this affects my buying decision. This dude jumped, and this is the only energy you're getting at whatever it is that he was like, this is the absolute worst reason to consider trusting your data with a company is because you like the logo. So I'm like, homie, chill. I wasn't thinking about SanDisk on Monday. They dropped the logo on Tuesday. Next time I get a disc, I may research what they're doing. Like to think that I don't give a shit about the logo. Dude, some people care about marketing. Not care, but like if SanDisk didn't have a rebranding campaign, there was no commercial they could have done with their old one that would have had me talking on my podcast about it. Like clearly they knew when they were investing in that where to split the money between research and development and whatever. But I'll just be like, I like that you could put your voice on Threads because I don't care so much about, like I say to people, I grew my hair out. I've reached a point in my career where it's like, I'm good enough to get hired with long hair. In my 20s, I was like, if I'm not in a suit, if I don't have a tie, people aren't going to consider me and stuff. And does it help? Yeah, like you said, people are buying you, not the stuff, But I have a question for you. This is for me, not my listeners. Is it like I don't want to chase trends? Is there somewhat of having to be like up on pop culture or at least up on social media trends? Like,
I think it's good to be up on social media trends and pop culture, but it doesn't mean to follow it. As long as you have the knowledge of it, you could be quick to react or quick to like, you have that information tucked in your back pocket. To not have that information could hurt you, but I'm not going to say it will hurt you. It's just there. But it is good to have that like at the ready, just in case.
Now that makes sense. Like we had, I remember when Andrew Tate when everything was going nuts and the guy had cutting my clips at the time was like, we need Andrew Tate clips. We need Andrew Tate clips. I'm like, okay, I'll start to get familiar. As I did, I'm like, I don't want to talk about this. Like, I don't want to have a take just to have a take.
Just to have a take.
And that at that point, I feel like I'll lose the passion for it. I'll feel like I'll have to be reading the news, not to know about a new logo that's in my industry, but like what's going viral on Instagram. Like that, even my podcast I listen to, and they're like, such and such, they say the person's at name like it's a celebrity, and they're like, they're dating this person. And I'm like, I get that that's a whole machine. I don't.
Yeah, that's different.
I don't care.
I feel like that's trying to reach a different market. Like you don't need Andrew Tate style clips to become a good podcaster or anything of that nature. I think that kind of stuff puts you in a box. And I mean, we saw what happened with a local podcaster who put himself in that box. He created one type of content, went on somebody else's podcast. It didn't turn out good for him. I don't know what he's doing now. I'm sure maybe he lost a little bit of followers and then gained it back. I'm not sure. I don't follow it. But
I'm not up on it. but like definitely not up on it enough to speak on it.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine, and I did think about this for myself, is the goal numbers? You know, like if I wanted to, I could have been on I could have not been saying shout out to my listeners, Spotify, Google Podcast. I could have just did YouTube. If the only place you could find it was YouTube, yeah, I'd sacrifice more overall listeners, but I'd have 2 or 3 times as many views in the stuff. There's people that download podcasts, you know what I mean? So do I take those thousands of downloads and count them as, oh, they weren't views? Like, I'd rather have somebody download me because I know you're going to listen to it, even if I don't get the analytics on how far you listened, anything like that. I now have people, after talking into a mic for myself for a while, reaching out like, hey, what do sponsorships look like? So now I'm like, okay, like I said, everything I do is to just justify my hobbies. Now I could be like, all right, Nika, I'm making money down here. You guys got to keep the volume down. Before that, they're on the phones. They're like, Dad's just in the basement doing his thing. But no, everybody respects the cringe once they see $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like, as a creator, I don't want to just call it content creation, but as a creator, if you want to put something out, you want to put out a podcast, you want to put out content, you want to make videos, whatever, you want to be a model, you need to get over that cringe. Everybody, I don't care everybody looks at your stuff and they're just like, what's Chris doing?
Yeah.
They see me. 35-year-old married father of 3 on Facebook, dropped the video yesterday playing around dancing.
Yeah.
And then you know what's funny? That has got more more engagement than most of my other stuff.
But if you would have been trying to dance to follow a trend that, 13, 14, like my daughter's 16. She'll say, let's do a TikTok. And it'll be like the one where 2 people dance and then the music stops for she's playing me. I know I'm the old dad that's going to get laughed at by a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I know I can't leave my ass crack showing around my own house because I'll end up getting passed around the school. Like, that's fine. Play that part. It's when, like, we had this problem in hip hop. It's like when you're 37, 38 shopping in the kids department and you don't have a kid's body, like that. That's one thing. If you're a woman, you're petite, you're shopping size zeros, like I get it. But if I don't know. And this is not going against Crocs or pajamas or any of that sort of stuff. But if you're trying to fit into that market, there's got to be some like weird motive. Like
Absolutely. There always is.
But I know you we can start to land the plane. I know you got to run around, do a couple things today. If you want to just kind of lead with you did kind of say what your day looks like and what goes into it. You went into how much research is involved in doing what you do. You said you don't need to have a ton of behind the camera experience to get into it and stuff, even though that does help you. You know what I mean? And I would say the same with podcasting, like knowing what this stuff does. It's okay to put out 30 shit episodes.
Absolutely.
Where the audio's not great. Do you know how much stuff I still figure out? I think until I have 100 episodes, I can't say this is what I do. That's just been my thing. I'm like, I need at least 100 videos. And then people at YouTube will be like, okay, you figure it out. We had Alani on here. I forgot to turn on the backlighting. And you know what? When I looked through that camera and I saw the back of your shirt was dark, I was like, oh, backlighting. Like, it's never going to happen again.
You have to put, like, so what a lot of people tell me, what people like for content creation, people will say the editing is hard. They let the editing stop them from creating content. And it's just like, you just put it out. Just put it out. Learn it down the road. Learn it along the way. Just put it out. You want to make a podcast? Put it out. Learn it along the way. Because like we said earlier, people are watching that you don't know that are watching. They will watch your progression. And when you get to a certain point that they wanted you to get to, that's when they'll engage with you. And they'll put it out to people. And so on and so forth. And it's just put the work out. Don't worry about what it looks like. Don't be a perfectionist. Put it out. Work on it later. Work on it, continue to work on it, but make sure that it's out because somebody's always watching.
Yeah. Or if you have the budget,
Yeah.
hire someone like Chris, hire someone like Tony. And no, I mean, I have no problem with if there's the passionate. And some of the things I'll shout out my clients as we're closing up, like the reality TV show we're working on, he's learning editing, learning cameras, invested in the equipment. Like this is not okay, I just wanted to throw together something like this. You know what I mean? Like this is camera switching. This is a production.
Yeah.
This is an actual show, and it's driven by someone who took the time to learn the stuff. Shout out to Ron Speakman on Fed Up's podcast. He learned he's got 60, 70,000 downloads in like the first year just off of, okay, I'm going to get this equipment. I'm going to YouTube how to learn it. I'm going to do this. And he's still calling me up. Hey, what can we do with this? I actually owe him a call after today, actually. But that's what's going to make me want to team up and work with you. Like it can't just be transactional. I can't just be the guy that switches the cameras between it. You know what I mean? I could be making $100,000. You get around $200,000, hit me up. I'll switch between camera A, camera C. I'll run the clapboard. Like,
I'll do it all.
But not for no $20,000. They'll want somebody to be. We're in a market where there's always somebody that's going to do it cheaper. So where do you set yourself aside? But dude, great gems. This is awesome.
Appreciate you.
And so people know, man, I've known Chris for years and I've been podcasting for 2. We just got around to getting on this. So I knew what you did and you were always somebody. We could have had this at any time over the past 2 years and it would have been a dope interview. But, I wanted to specifically document this now because I've seen you do it with so many other things. Like you're going to take this content creation to a whole nother level. And then you're showing and teaching me as we go, like behind the scenes. People don't know I'm in Chris's inbox for equipment recommendations, reviews. I'm not sending him memes or stuff like that. He's allowed me to use equipment for shoots. I've recommended him and tagged him. We've even got clients where they've come to me for branding and then come to you for brand headshots and stuff. You know what I mean? Shout out to Unique Glow Wellness Med Spa. So, yeah, it's good stuff, man. You got anything else you want to land the plane with?
Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Put it out. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be videos. You want to rap? Put it out. You want to take pictures? Put it out. Practice. But don't focus so heavy on being a professional. You'll get there. Just put it out. Let people see the baby steps. You don't need to just introduce yourself to the world as like, look at me. I do this and I do it really good. Nah, just put it out there. Put it out there and let them see the growth. People love that. People love seeing the growth. And there's going to be some people who don't like the growth, and it is what it is. They'll help you regardless. Their views will help you grow. So don't stop.
Here we go, man. Get your haters up. I Will Not Lose podcast. Christopher Urena. Thanks. Thank you for listening to another episode of I Will Not Lose podcast. To support the show, visit iwillnotlosepodcast.com. You can subscribe to your favorite podcast player, share the episode link, leave a comment. Your contribution is greatly appreciated. And if you're listening in and can't see the QR code for donation, go to tothedesigner.com/links and there's instructions to donate up there. Thanks so much.